in the sitting government right now not to be kicked out? What would you have done differently? Is there a time you sat down?
Well, there's nothing. I did not make any mistake myself. William Ruto did not intend to be with me for long. He had planned to kick me out even before we got elected.
So he just...
So my fate was sealed.
Okay.
It was just a question of time.
Okay.
He didn't want a strong person.
Okay.
He didn't want somebody who has principles. He didn't want somebody who is not a thief.
Yes.
He didn't want somebody who is not corrupt. I am not corrupt, I'm not a thief. And for that reason, it was very difficult for me and him to work together because he wanted us to loot the country. He wanted us to mismanage public resources. He wanted us to enrich ourselves from public resources, and I was not comfortable.
Yes.
So there is nothing I would have done differently for me to survive.
Yes.
The only thing, probably in hindsight, had I made a coalition agreement with William Ruto with my own political party, we'll still be together. And probably this country will be doing well because I'll be telling him no. And there's nothing he can do. He was able to kick me out because I didn't have my political party.
At that time?
At that time, we were in the same party.
Yes.
So my members would have supported me, were also his members. That is a lesson that I have learned. I will never repeat that mistake.
Yes.
My base where I come from, we shall never repeat that mistake. We have made a decision.
Yes.
Not just for this election, but for posterity.
Yes.
This is a story we'll be telling our children and their children and their children.
Yes. That
for you to be well cushioned politically in any coalition, you must go to coalition with your political party. If I had my political party and I had made a coalition with William Ruto, we will still be together.
Yes.
We will be fighting, but I will be in government, and probably the country will be well functioning because with members, I'll be able to check him. I would have stopped him from doing a lot of things he was doing. He compromised Raila Odinga to be able to do things without any question. Then I started questioning from inside. So he kicked me out to do all the things he wanted to do without a question. So if I had a political party, I had my own members of parliament and senate, he would not have been able to kick me out. And the country actually would be more stable and things will not be as bad as they are because I will be providing oversight from within government. And that is actually what the framers of the 2010 Constitution envisaged. A strong deputy president elected by the people to check the president from inside, from within government. And you see what has happened now is that he removed an elected deputy president who can ask questions, who can start firm and put an employee, his own employee whom he has picked. He is not elected by anybody. Yeah. So he will do what he tells him because in any case he's one who has given him the job. Yeah, that is why it's against the 2010 Constitution. The framers had intended a deputy president to be elected by the people so that in case the president became rogue, in case the president became excessive, a reasonable deputy elected by the people would have some leverage, some local standard to say, no, we can't go this direction. That's what I had started doing when I was within government. Yeah. And then he couldn't agree that I apply some oversight role from within government. Yeah.
There are so many questions here. But somebody is just also concerned. A lot of people here, like you rightfully said, are on your side. But they say President Ruto didn't see this coming. He didn't see you having a party. Just thought kicking you out, you're going to the village to be a farmer.
Oh yes. In fact, there are some young boys around him who gives him advice. I had told him to be sitting with elders. Because elders, by virtue of age, experience, exposure, know quite a bit. And elders in any society are useful because they'll give you wise counsel. And most of these elders are rich people. They are people who have seen it all and they are not sycophantic. And therefore they can give very good advice. The President Mwai Kibaki was very successful because he had a few elders whom he trusted. The late Jenga Karume, the late John Michuki, Francis Mudaura, Joe Wajui. People who are wealthy, people who want nothing from him. They just want the country to succeed. And they will tell him as it is, as what people are saying. So I did ask President William Ruto, please, I can see some young boys around you, little boys, Some are not even married. They don't even have a family. They are the ones who advise him. And I could see the country is headed in the wrong direction. And we started losing support. We had come in with a lot of support. There was euphoria when we were elected. Everybody was for William Ruto and Rigiji. And then I told him we are losing support. One, of a taxation.
Yes.
You know, programs that are like the housing program, people don't want it. People are saying it's not the work of government to build houses. The work of government is to provide services, roads, water, electricity, sewage, security, and a good environment to do business. But housing is a personal choice. Leave it to the private sector. Mwai Kibaki never did housing program, but he did a lot of housing indirectly. He opened up the bypasses, put tarmac, electricity, water, and the houses came up on their own.
Yes.
You let the private sector thrive on its own. So I started telling William Ruto, you know, I am talking to the people and we are losing it. My brother, please, let's not force things on the people of Kenya. He said, no, you don't know, you don't have to do what is right, what is popular, you do what is right. I said, I agree with you, you do what is right. But if the majority of the people who gave us this job decides it's not right, you cannot insist it is right. If they are saying it's not right, the people, you are employers,
Because they
the people who give you the job, if they are saying what you are saying is right, they are telling you no, we don't want it. So I had asked him, you know, let's get some elders, let's get professionals, let's talk to people, let's listen to the people of Kenya. He could hear none of it. So these same boys are the ones who told him, if you remove this guy, within 2 weeks, he'll be forgotten. He'll go back to Amonyoro. He'll be crestfallen.
Yes.
He'll be traumatized.
Depressed.
He'll be depressed.
Because they took
this guy, nobody,
out.
Without security, without choppers, without cars, without a salary, without anything. This guy, 2 weeks, he'll be forgotten. Just give the job to another fellow from the mountain. And the mountain people are not interested in people. They are interested in positions. He is only popular because of the position that he has. And he was persuaded. So they got rid of me. But, you know...
well, somebody said...
So what has happened today?
Somebody saying the impeachment was unlawful, but we're not going to talk about that. So now that you have a party, we've seen hands exchanging. This is a history repeating itself in regards of handshake, handshake, handshake. We've seen it so many times with government. So now that you have your own party, for peace sake and unity sake in Kenya, right, for us to have one Kenya and one government, are you willing, if President Ruto was to call you today, are you willing to sit down and have a dialogue of handshake and peace for the country?
No, that handshake nonsense is responsible for the erosion of our democracy. Good democracy needs government and opposition.
Yes.
Because absolute power corrupts. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. The hole we are in as a country is because the president has gone wrong. He's become a dictator. And because there's nobody to ask him any question.
We don't have a strong...
Yeah, because there's no opposition.
Yeah.
The National Assembly we have today at the Moses Wetangula is worse than the National Assembly we had during the one-party era.
Yes.
And the single party at the Kanu. We had a very bad parliament. But this one at the Moses Wetangula is terrible. Wetangula, the Speaker of National Assembly, behaves like a youth wing of UDA. You can see me in Harambee talking about UDA and two-term. Yet he is supposed to be an arbiter, an umpire in National Assembly. He's not supposed to have an opinion.
Yes.
He's supposed to wait for the legislators to come there, and then he can moderate the debate and allow the people to make a decision.
Yes.
But himself, he is propagating the same matters that come in parliament, in public rallies. So, by neutralizing ODM, by making sure that he got rid of his deputy who was level-headed and who loved his country and who was patriotic enough not to agree to things that are wrong, he has a few days to do whatever he wants. So asking me to have a handshake with William Ruto will just even make him worse. You see, right now we are checking him, and he's not liking it. To tell you the truth, we are giving him better opposition than Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga was a good opposition leader, but to be truthful, he didn't have the energy we have. In terms of being agile, in terms of articulating issues, we have a more serious opposition than we had during the time of Raila Odinga, which is good for the country. So today, if I agree to have a handshake with William Ruto, I will just be giving him a blank check to continue with the excesses, abductions, extrajudicial killing, sale of public assets, theft of public funds, destruction of institution of governance. Parliament is no longer an independent institution. It has been captured. The Senate has been captured. The governors cannot speak. Nobody can speak. So we are the only remaining voice. So we will be very unfair to the people of Kenya. I don't think the people of Kenya would ever forgive me if today I went and shook hands with William Ruto in exchange either of money or positions or privilege.
Because he can never.
Maybe I can go and say, oh, we'll give you security, or we'll give you cars, or we'll give you some money, or we'll give you 3 ministers, and all that nonsense. I'm not interested. We have a job to do. We have to keep him in check,
yes,
so that this country can stand.
Yes.
And we have even a bigger duty, a more serious responsibility to work very hard to have change of government next year through constitutional means, as we don't want to remove William Ruto unconstitutionally. I heard Murkomen saying that I'm inciting people by saying they need to deal with traitors. For the record, Murkomen must know anybody who betrays voters is a traitor.
By default.
A traitor is a traitor, and traitors must be called out. And I am on record saying all traitors must be punished, but on the ballot. I'm not telling anybody to beat them. I'm not telling anybody. I'm not telling anybody to beat them. I'm not telling anybody to do. No. I'm even saying, when we had a funeral in Olokalao, and William Ruto was there, and the people are very hostile to him. I said, no.
Yes.
Let this guy speak.
Yeah.
We have a problem with him.
Yes.
But the Constitution has given us an opportunity next year to get rid of him.
Yes.
Let's wait for that opportunity. For now, he is president. Allow him to speak. Even these members of parliament who support him, they have betrayed the Kenyan people. They are traitors. We must deal with them. And that is why I use figurative language. I have heard some people trying to twist it. Kuua nyoka na mayai. That is figurative language. I'm a student of literature. And the power of figurative speech in terms of communication is very powerful. Kuua nyoka means getting rid of William Ruto on the ballot.
On the ballot.
With the eggs are all the people who support him. We cannot get rid of him and leave the fellows who support him around, because they have betrayed the Kenyan people, and they can betray the people of Kenya again.
But the ballots thing, to Kokadi, right? I feel like because we don't have a civil education in terms of voting right, who am I voting for? It's all about greed, it's all about money, it's all about what we are getting. Because if I'm hungry and somebody puts food on my table, I'll take it. But if there's civil education, yes, take the money. And I'm for Kenyans. Anybody who wants to take the money, take it. But when you're going to vote, you're by yourself. Nobody knows who you're voting for, so vote right. But if we have civil education, don't you think this will now help us to vote well and to also take that voting card?
My sister, the IBC is supposed to do a lot of civic education, and they are not doing it. The civil society used to be very vibrant in Kenya. That is no longer the case. But have comfort. These public rallies we do every week, is civic education. We are educating the people of Kenya, and they are getting it. We had some nominations in a place called Olokalao, where there's a by-elections. And the UDA party of William Ruto was having nominations on Friday. The DCP, my party, had nominations on Saturday. So UDA people were giving people money, including DC people, to go and vote for the aspirants for UDA. And the people of Olokalao said, no, we love money, yes. We need money, yes. We have a lot of problems we can do with some money. But this one we don't want because we don't belong to UDA. We don't like UDA. We belong to DCP. The president had released 40 million Kenya shillings to mobilize 40,000 residents of Olakalau at a cost of 1,000 per person. So they were supposed to get 40,000 people turning up for their nomination. They got 3,000. And because they were using electronic gadgets, they escalated the figures to 8,000. But the ones who turned up are 3,000. Assuming they even turned up 8,000. Let's give them the benefit of doubt. 32,000 residents of Olkalau said, no, we don't want money. That's very huge victory for our democracy.
Yes.
It means people are very enlightened. And people, no matter how much they are struggling, can say, no, we are not going to sell our birthright.
Yes.
We are not going to sell our democratic right. So 32,000 people being enticed with 1,000 shillings that they need because they have no food,
yes,
said no. Only 8,000 succumbed to that, what do you call it, inducement, you know. So our democracy is coming of age, and I can tell you between now and next year in March, we shall be all over the country. And in these public rallies we do, they are part of the civic education, is telling people, you people cannot accept money, yeah, and elect dictators. You cannot take money and elect people who will destroy the health system. Then when you go to hospital, there are no drugs, and the money that you are given is not sufficient to buy you drugs for 5 years. You cannot take 2,000 shillings, elect the wrong people, then for 5 years your children cannot go to school. And I think Kenyans are getting it. Because I've even seen in many places where they have been given money, after the president has left, they shout one time, which means they are just taking the money, but their heart is well protected. Their conscience is clear that even if they are taking money, that money will not corrupt them to do the wrong thing. They will still take the money and do the right thing. And I think I'm very encouraged by what is happening across the country, and more so what happened in Olkalau. And I'm sure during the by-election on July 16th, that will be more pronounced. There will be a lot of money, but people will do the right thing, I can assure you.
Okay. So my next, I'll ask, is loyalty in African politics, is it real, or is it just temporary alignment of interest?
Well,
because I've heard in different forums that this is what I was promised, this is what was promised of me, but it wasn't delivered. So is it all about the interest of what I was meant to get, or what I'm getting, or is it actually for the people?
Our politics have been very indecent, and we have had a lot of the politics of betrayal and deception, where you promise heaven to the electorate and deliver hell. And that is why there is a very big overturning of leaders. If our leaders are elected, like 70% of members of parliament usually don't come back, because when they were campaigning, they promised heaven, then they deliver hell. People have no loyalty to the voters. Voters are very loyal people. By the time voters vote for you, they didn't trust you. I can tell you, William Ruto was trusted by Kenyans. They believed him. The guy was very persuasive. He was hardworking, he was everywhere. Bottom-up economic transformation, signing economic charters with the people of Kenya. Uhurukenyatta tried to say, this guy is not good for the country. Please don't elect him. He will mess this country. Nobody could listen because he had promised heaven to the people of Kenya. And they believed it, they trusted, they were loyal to what he said. But he did not mean, or he was saying he did not intend to do it. And that is why you find the people who supported him most are the ones who have the biggest problem with him, because they were loyal. So they feel more betrayed than even those who did not elect him. In fact, you find those who did not elect him are not having a very big problem with him, because they don't feel deceived. They knew he's not good, so they are saying, we told you. So they are not very angry. But the people he deceived, the people he convinced that he means well, the people he convinced he will transform their lives, and then he has done the exact opposite of what he promised, they are very bitter, and they are looking for revenge. on the ballot, of course, you know. So loyalty has been two-way. The voters have been very loyal to their leaders. But I'm afraid